En direct. Okay. I think we are now online. Yes. Yes, we are. I think we are. Oh, no, sorry. I'm just watching also on my phone. So, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom to KLS, Shabbat Shalom to our members, to our friends who are watching us either on Zoom or on Twitter or on YouTube or on Facebook. So tonight we have a regular Erev Shabbat service for Parashat Matot Masei, which is the last Torah portion of the Book of Numbers. And we have a surprise, a darshan. We will come later to explain his views on the Torah portion, and I'm not going to say more than that. That will be your surprise. So we are now on page 75, and yeah, just before us, the service will be led by members of the community. Page 75.
You shall call the Sabbath a delight. These lights we kindle are a symbol of joy. May their brightness lift our spirits and fill our hearts with happiness and peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe. You sanctify us by your commandments and enjoin us to kindle the Sabbath lights. The Sabbath has descended to enfold us in its mantle of peace. It brings to us the precious gift of time to embrace family and friends, to reflect more deeply on the meaning and purpose of our lives, and to worship in the beauty of holiness. May our Sabbaths always be sanctuaries of love and devotion, bringing contentment to our hearts, happiness to our homes, and blessing to our people. And if you all can join me at home singing the Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlohim HaKodesh, Baruch Hu. Bohim Bashalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malach Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlohim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bahuni LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlohim, HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Zeitachem LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlohim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Now we are on page 77. The Eternal One reigns, let the earth rejoice. Let the many isles be glad. Clouds and darkness surround you. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne. Your lightnings illumine the world. The earth sees and trembles. Mountains melt like wax before you, O God. Before the ruler of all the earth, the heavens proclaim your righteousness, and all the peoples behold your glory. Zion hears and is glad. The daughters of Judah rejoice in your judgments. for you are supreme over all the earth. You are exalted far above all other gods. Light dawns for the righteous, and joy for the upright in heart. Let your righteous rejoice in you, and give thanks to you, to your holy name. Souls beloved, source of mercy, draw your servant to your will. Let me leap like a deer to stand in awe before you, before your glory. Your love is sweeter than the taste of honey. Show yourself, beloved, and spread over me the shelter of your peace. Illumine the world with your presence, and we will rejoice and be glad in you. Hurry, loved one. The holy day has come. Be gracious to us as in days of old.
We're on page 78. Yedid Nefesh, Ava Rachaman. Yedid Nefesh, Ava Rachaman. Yedid Nefesh, Ava Rachaman. משעבדך, לה 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 לה, אל רצונך. ירוץ עבדך, כמו אייל, ישתחווה, יה לה 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 לה, מול הדרה. ירב לו, ידידותיך, לה 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 לה, מנופת צוף, לה 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 לה, וכל טעם. יגאלנה ופרוס חביב עלי, את סוכת שלומך, תהיר ארץ, לה 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 לה, מכבודך. נגילה ונשמחה בך, מהר אהוב, לה 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 לה, כי במועד. וכוננו כי מעולם, וכוננו כי מי לה 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 לה, כי מעולם. Lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai, ya 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 la 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 lai, ya lai la 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 lai. And now we turn to page what did I say? 89. And Jill, over to you.
Page 89. Tov lahadot l'Adonai, ulasmei l'shimcha elyon, lahagid b'boker hastecha, be'emunatecha b'leilot, alei asor ba'alei navel, alei higion b'kino, ki simatani Adonai b'fanecha, b'masei yadecha yanein, Magadlu Maasecha Adonai, Me'od Aku Amavotecha, Zadikatama Yifra, Ka'eres Bavanon Bava Shatulim Baveit Adonai Matra Eloheinu Yafrihu Od Yanuvun Baseva Dashenim Ba'anenim Yehu Lahakir Ki Yasha Adonai Suri Valo Avlata Bo.
On the middle of page 90, the Eternal One reigns in grandeur robed and girded with strength. The world stands firm, it shall not be moved. Your throne is established from of old, for you are everlasting. The oceans roar, Eternal God. The thundering oceans roar. The thundering oceans rage. Yet greater than the roaring waves, mightier than the breaking seas, you stand supreme on high. Sure are the proofs of your power, O God, and holiness adorns your house forever.
And continuing with Lachado D in page 91, welcoming Shabbat. Lachado D, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Lachado di likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el ha'miuchad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem ultiferet v'liti la 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 echad odi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. L'chad odi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Likrat Shabbat, l'chu elcha, ki himecho habracha, merosh mikedem nasucha, sof maaseh b'machshav v'techi la 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 la. L'chad odi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. L'chad odi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Hitorari, kiva ore kumi uri shidaberi, kavod Adonai alaik nala gnagala la 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 lechad odi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. L'chad odi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Boi b'shalom aterit bala, gam b'simcha uvtzola, tokem bonei am segula. Boi chala, l'chad odi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. L'chad odi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Traditionally, the congregation stands at this point, but tradition did not anticipate Zoom. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Praise the one to whom our praise is due. We praise the Eternal One, to whom our praise is due forever. We praise you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will sets the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. You make day pass and bring on the night, and separate day from night. You rule the hosts of heaven. We praise you, O God, whose word makes evening fall. Ahavat olam, ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael amchavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadata, Alchein Adonai, Eloheinu, b'sha'akeinu, u'v'kumeinu nasiach, b'chochecha, v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu v'orek yameinu v'hem negei yomam v'layla Yomam v'layla, Yomam v'layla. Yahavatecha, al tazur mimenu, al tazur mimenu, L'olamim, We praise you, O God. You love your people, Israel. We reach the Shema at the top of page 94. Please stand if you wish. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Chavod Malchuto, Olam Vaed. V'havta et Adonai Elohecha, v'kol levavcha, v'kol nafshecha, v'kol modecha, v'hayu hadavarim, ha'ele asher anochi matzavecha hayom al lavavecha, v'shinantam lebenecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shiftecha b'veitecha, u'v'leftecha b'derech, u'kshofbecha, u'v'kumecha, u'kshatam la'ot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot bein enecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot, beitecha u'visharecha. L'man tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'tem kadoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We're on page 95. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt, forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule. Then, full of joy, we sang together. Mi hamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi hamocha Nedam HaKodesh, Oradei Lord, Osef Eleh, Adonai Imloch, Olam Haed. Now at the top of page 96. It has been said, the Eternal One has delivered Jacob and redeemed us from the hand of one stronger than ourselves. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Ashivenu, Ashivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, LaShalom, LaShalom, Ashivenu, Ashivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, LaShalom. Grant, eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores uchad shalom, aleinu al kol amo Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, Ashivenu.
We are continuing on page 97 with the Amidah, which is a standing prayer. So if you would like to stand, feel free to do so. I'm going to stay seating, otherwise you won't see my face. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufiya kitahilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, V'chayei Meitim Atah Rav Lahoshia. Mashiv Haruach U'Morid Hageshem, Mazriach Hashemesh U'Morid Hatal. Mechakel Chayim B'Chesed, V'chayei Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somek Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'Midon Melech Matzliach Yeshua. Trusting in you, we see life beyond death. We praise you, O God, source of eternal life. You are holy, awesome is your name. We have no God but you. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We praise you, eternal one, the holy God. Please sit down if you were standing. And we're on the bottom of page 98. We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to a closer communion with you. Though you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts to you in worship and meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life. From you come its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all the circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace. Now we're at the bottom of page 99. To give myself a starting note. Yismechu b'malchutcha, Yismechu b'malchutcha, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onik, Hamekadshei Shvi, Hamekadshei Shvi, Kolam yisbehu v'yitangu mituvecha, V'ashvi, V'ashvi, Ratzitabo v'kidashto, Chemdat yamim, Oto karata, Seichel ha'maseh v'reishit. We're on the top of page 100. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu, ratzei v'mnuchatenu. Kachenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein chelkeinu b'toratecha, sabeinu mitubecha, v'samcheinu b'shuatecha, v'taheh libeinu, v'taheh libeinu, v'taheh libeinu, le'ovdecha ba'emet, v'taheh libeinu, v'taheh libeinu, v'taheh libeinu, le'ovdecha ba'emet. Kachenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein chelkeinu b'toratecha, sabeinu mitubecha, v'samcheinu b'shuatecha. In your gracious love, eternal one, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha, b'yir'ah na'avod. Modim anachnu lach. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God, as you were the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. We praise you, O God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael v'chol eit uv'chol sha'ah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Let's take a few moments for silent prayer. Yehayu laratzon imrefi v'hegyon libi lefanecha. Yehayu laratzon imrefi v'hegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri v'goali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri v'goali.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you to all our service leaders tonight. So now I mentioned a surprise at the start. We have a darshan tonight who is not me. So over to the surprised darshan. Norman, please, over to you.
Thank you, René. Do we really enjoy journeys? In this week's Torah portion, we read how the journey taken by the Israelites from Egypt to the Promised Land is reviewed. The text lists all the stops taken along the route, commencing with leaving Egypt through 40 years of travel in the wilderness. Obviously, this journey was embarked on long before sat-nav became an essential part of travel. However, in the Torah, there is always a reason and a purpose for doing something. Sometimes the reason for many of us is obscure and indeed can be rather boring. With the benefit of skillful commentators, quite often the boring factor is explained and suddenly the relevant portion becomes far more interesting. One of the commentaries which I rather liked when I read it stated that we should think of the journey as a kind of a memorial to what the Jews went through after leaving Egypt. It equates it to modern times when quite often we review what we have done in the past in terms of travel and reminisce about events or activities which we did relevant to the stated town or area. Now, I'm a person who is not keen on long car journeys, quite happy about long flights or longest train journeys, but with our roads being so crowded and the dreaded M25 always lurking, car journeys can be somewhat of a nightmare. That said, Jill and I recently drove to Suffolk. It took us an age, what with hold-ups both there and back. However, it was lovely when we were there, and the Suffolk and Norfolk countryside has much to commend. Whilst there, we wanted to revisit a small town we stayed in many years ago, actually in 1977, called Winterton. It is situated a few miles north of Great Yarmouth on the blustery Norfolk coast. Eventually, we found the actual location, and we had great amusement recalling all the fun we had on that holiday when our boys were aged 3 and 5. Additionally, on the theme of journeys and reminiscing, this week I started a new volunteering role at Nightingale, which many of you know is a Jewish care home in Wandsworth. One of our long-standing members, Mara Houghton, is a resident there. My role is one of the befriender, where I am allocated 6 residents to chat to and perhaps enjoy coffee together. I have had no training for this other than skills obtained during the course of my lifetime, but how hard can it be? Any rate, after the mandatory COVID tests in the medical room, which Nightingale has set aside for this purpose, I embarked on my mission. I met some of the residents allocated to me. One lady aged 102, another 103, and another 98. Now, to the best of my knowledge, previous to this experience, the 2 oldest people I have met were our late member, Nancy Myron, when Jill and I visited her on her 100th birthday, when we took a picture of Nancy to include in the Kingston News, which at that time Jill was editing. And some of you might remember her. She was a lovely lady. I also visited a late local neighbour who was also aged 100. Interestingly enough, the Nightingale residents managed a decent conversation, although the 103-year-old said to me, "What kind of God lets people live to 103? Ridiculous." I mean, that'd be a good point for discussion at another time, perhaps. I had to chuckle, and so did she. The 98-year-old lady is a member of LJS and remarked how nice it was to chat to another member of a liberal synagogue. When we think of journeys, it's altogether a different matter when the story is of a life history journey of over 100 years. I would just finish on another journey, a much shorter one of about 3 weeks, culminating with our England team of footballers taking on the Italians in the Euro football final this Sunday night. Let us hope that this somewhat shorter journey is as successful as the Israelites' journey when they eventually arrived in the Promised Land. After a long 16 months or so of COVID and subsequent restrictions, a triumph on the football field will help lift the nation's spirits, and boy, do we need it. Shabbat Shalom to you all.
Shabbat Shalom, Norman. Brilliant. Yes. We hope for a victory of the English team, because they behave so brilliantly, not only as a players, but as human beings. They're quite extraordinary. So thank you, Norman. Very interesting, the notion of journey, and you talked about the physical journey, but also the life journey and the going down memory lane as well. It's all these things connect in a way. So thank you, Norman. Right. So before we go to the end of the service, I just wanted to share a few information with you tonight. So as you know, tomorrow we have another bar mitzvah. We have Zach Scheib, who is having his bar mitzvah tomorrow at 11 from the sanctuary. So if you haven't booked, now it's a bit late, but you can always watch it online. So it will be online from 11 onwards. We still have the Hebrew beginners Hebrew classes led by the wonderful Dominic Schultes. Again, thank you, Dominic, for taking on this teaching of Hebrew for beginners. It's really good. We have on Tuesday Biblical Hebrew and Exploring Judaism, and next Thursday we have a conversation with Elizabeth Arifir, who is the founder of Voice of Salam. She is a Muslim poetess, and we will just discuss. So it's from 8 p.m. onwards. So if you go on the newsletter, there's a link for her biography, and that's the power of Twitter, because I'm following her on Twitter, and I always found her tweets very positive and very humane. So I asked her, would you fancy coming? And she said, yes, why not? So she's a poetess as well, and it's more about poetry that she's coming, but also about her commitment in interfaith work between Jews and Muslims. So we also have a Torah study lunch on Fridays at 1 p.m. Next Shabbat, we have the last Beiteinu Shabbat, a family service marking the end of the Beiteinu year. The students and the teachers all deserve a break, so they will be on break from Saturday the 17th. So please join us, because it's promising. It promises to be a very important service for them. So if the community can be there and show their love and their interest, that would be just amazing. And for the rest, if you look in the newsletter, so we had a wonderful Chavora supper last Friday. It was so good. You have some pictures of this supper where 17 people, and the annual garden party will be on Sunday, the 15th of August, hosted by Tina and Neil. It's going to be really nice. And Saturday, the 24th, a new members Shabbat. So it's not only for new members, it's for all members, the occasion to meet our new members. So hopefully with restriction lifted just the Monday before, things will be more or less stable. It might go wrong later on during the summer, but at least on the 24th, it's going to be all right. And yes, so that's it as far as I'm concerned. I'm just trying to see. Okay, so Sarah is joining us. She's mentioning the book crushes tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And yes, Deborah, you'll enjoy meeting with her. You'll see she's a wonderful human being, Liz Arif. Okay, so any other? No, I'm just scrolling down. So again, thank you for our service leaders tonight. But just to tell you that if you want to lead part of a service on Friday evening, because it's much better when we're together on Zoom and we lead part of a service, as a community, just drop me a line and then I will add you to the list. And also I have a request from Rebecca Weddell, who is our choir master. She said that she's looking for new voices. We have a wonderful choir, but it's always good to have new voices. So please come forward and join the choir team. So maybe just, if you want just to start with the high holidays, so it's a small commitment. You don't need to commit for the next 30 years. But if you want to start with the high holidays, please keep in touch with me, and I will put you in touch with Rebecca. I don't know exactly how many times you meet, but
well, we meet about once a month, roughly. Sometimes a bit more. But and just to say that you don't have to be able to read either Hebrew or music, because we can cope with all of that as long as you can sing in tune.
Yeah, and it's all of these voices together. It's more than just 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. It's a persona in itself. So it's a unique experience to sing in a choir. So please come forward, and I will very happily put you in touch. Or you can talk to Sandra as well. And Sandra, Vince are on the choir. Jill is on the choir as well. So I don't know, I can't see all the people on the call today. So yes, so many people on the choir. And Simo, I can see Simo is here as well. So if you want to, yes, Simo. So if you want, please come and talk to one of us. And Fleur, I can see Fleur as well. So we have a good choir. Huh? Right. So before we say the Kaddish, I just wanted to read you the list of Yortzeit this Shabbat. So on this Shabbat, we remember Tom Johnson, the father of Tina Higgins. We remember Raymond Benjamin, the son of Edmund and Evelyn Benjamin, and twin brother of Samuel. We remember Sigmund Ortner, the father of Barbara Richards. We remember Elsie Moss, the mother of Carol Tomlin, and we remember Mark Samuels, the father of Gary Samuels. Do you have any other name you would like to remember this Shabbat? I can't see anything. Okay. So let's say the Kaddish together on page 524. 524. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ביחתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני אדם ואמרו אמן. And let's finish with Adon Olam on page 525. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך דורה והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשחה ולא העוז והמשחה והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקחה מנת כוסי ביום אקחה לבידו אפקיד רוחי בעת תישן והעירה ועם רוחי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא יירא אדוני לי ולא יירא. Into your hand I place my soul, the sleep awake for you are near, and with my soul, my body too, you are my God, I shall not fear. Shabbat Shalom. May I ask all of you who are on Zoom now with me to unmute yourself so we can do the Kiddush together. And those who are watching us online, please do the same. Okay?
Okay.
Where's an echo here? Okay. Let's try.
It didn't work.
Okay. Yom HaShishi, Vayechulu HaShamayim, Va'et Bechol Sevaim. Oh gosh, sorry. I'm going to try something. Okay, Gina Normal, I muted you because I think the feedback comes from you. It's not me being rude. It's just to avoid any feedback. Sorry. Yom HaShishi, Vayechulu HaShamayim, Va'et Bechol Sevaim. ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן, אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת, אמן. לחיים. Okay, who's got a nice challah tonight? Can I see your chalot?
Oh, that's very nice.
Nice, really nice.
Lovely, Natalia. That's lovely. Did you make that?
Yes.
That's
Wow,
lovely.
really good, yeah. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ, אמן. שבת שלום.
Shabbat shalom.